Hello everybody, welcome back. Hope you can hear me. I haven't checked actually the levels. Seems okay. We're in the Huey. We are flying around South Belgium, and we're just following the route of the left column of the French. We were approaching the villages of Lobs and Thuin, and this was an area. It's just down here, Lobes. That's that place there. We are to the south west of Charleroi. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This isn't your usual flight simulator thing. It's a history using the flight simulator to have a look at history, and today and for the last few weeks we've been doing a series on Waterloo, the Waterloo campaign. Don't worry, you haven't missed anything. We've just started the actual campaign. It's only taken us about 40 episodes to get here. We've discussed everything from the leaving of Elba to Napoleon's arrival at Grenoble to Paris, organizations of armies. If anything, you've got here just in time for the good bit. But don't expect us to get to the old guard recooling just yet. What we have got to was an order that was sent out from Wellington around about well, let's say it was after 6 p.m. He'd sent out his orders. He's been receiving news that the French had been concentrating to the south in this area here, and he just sent out a message to his divisional commanders to go to their pre-planned concentration points. And we left the last episode because one of these orders was sent to a guy called Ponche. He's let me just skip back to the order of battle. He's a divisional commander. I shouldn't do this because this gets me out of my flow, and I get told off for umming and ahhing. But I've done it now, so I'm going to have to do it. We have done a lot. Here we go. So skip. Here we go. I'm going to try and find him in the order of battle. So he will be in the first corps. Here we go. Here we go. So he's a member of the First Corps. The First Corps is under the command of the Prince of Orange, and Prince of Orange has a number of divisions under his control. He's got the 1st Division under Cook, and he's got the 3rd Division under Alton, and he's got this thing is basically the 2nd Dutch Belgium Division, and this is commanded by a guy called Paponcha, and he's a little bit of a hero of mine because he receives a direct written order from Wellington to concentrate at their pre-planned concentration points. And Paponcha, though, is I think his men are cantoned in the area to the west of Quatre Bras, and his concentration point is a town called Nivelles. So he thinks he's going the order is stupid and he shouldn't do it, and he doesn't do it. And in this day and age, refusing a direct order would probably be quite serious, but he does it. And I was arguing with myself, obviously, but this would that have happened if it was a British division in that area? But because it's Paponcha, he's a Dutch guy, you know, hey, Dutch. That's a good impersonation. He says, he says, no, I'm not going to do it. He therefore is in Quatre Bras when the French attack and prevents Ney's part of his army from taking the important crossroads at Quatre Bras, and possibly has a massive impact on the whole campaign. You don't hear about this guy much if you read if people talk about the Waterloo campaign. You know, he might not be mentioned very often, but I think he's it's a significant moment in the campaign. So we've been looking at a lot of the messages that have been fired out around. And we've looked at the timings and how long it takes. So we think a horse riding from this area to Brussels takes around about 4 to 5 hours. And from Charleroi to Namur, where Blucher is, probably takes maybe 4 hours to get there. The distances are around 30 miles from here to Brussels and 20 miles to Namur. So you can see the sort of distances that is that a horse and a messenger has to ride. Presumably, I don't know this. Someone might do. Presumably, they set up horse changing stations along the main roads so that the messengers could change horses. Probably. But if anybody knows that, then please let me know. Just trying to find my place again. Let's the time now. Let's go to. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning, by the way. On Thursday, the 15th of June, that the Emperor Napoleon mounts his horse. His horse is Marengo. And this is the stage when the first troops start crossing the border. The border was much further north than it is today in this area. And they march, as I've been saying, in 3 columns towards Charleroi. and each regiment has been read the order of the day, which I read out in the last episode. Basically, it reminded them that it was the anniversary of the Battle of Marengo and Friedland. First fighting occurs around here at the villages of Thuin and Lobs. About a battalion of Westphalian militia under the command of Captain Gilhausen. He takes advantage of the hilly terrain. Let's I'm going to pause here and jump out because it's probably easier to find if I just zoom around. Otherwise, it's going to take a while. And this is the place here where we're talking about. So Captain Gilhausen is stationed on the right-hand side of the river here. This is the River Sombra, I believe. And he's taking advantage of this territory here. And this, by the way, is the reason why I do this. This is so that you can see the actual topography of what was the Prussians were looking at. Okay, at night, but it was on the 15th of June. Captain Gilhausen is taking advantage of this terrain here. He's trying to. The Prussians at this point, they're not. They have pickets out front, lines of pickets all along the border, and Gilhausen here is his job is to with his. I think it possibly like it's a 1 battalion he's got here in this area. He's facing off probably double that in French infantry plus a squadron of cavalry and 3 cannon, and they are from the division of Jerome Bonaparte, who was the he's not the brother, is he? Let me just Google Jerome. Jerome Bonaparte. He was the youngest brother of Napoleon. So he's spearheading the young Jerome Bonaparte. He's spearheading we have a division, Riles Corps, which was the 2nd Corps. So the French arrive here at 3:30, and Captain Gilhausen manages to hold them off here until 5 o'clock. So it doesn't sound long, but every hour is very important at this point because you're trying to basically delay the French as much as possible. And what happens is that the French attack in a kind of a pincer movement. They force their way along the valley to coming across this way and getting Gilhausen in a bit of a pincer movement. So one force is trying to get across the bridge here, and another force is coming across this side here, trying to trap them. This makes Gilhausen have to, because he's threatened on his right flank, he has to pull back. And because Thuin falls, which is this place here, then the sort of sister village over here called Lobs, that also falls because once Gilhausen has to pull back from the Thuin side, then this exposes Lob's area here, and so they'll have to pull back too. Now, according to his report, he would then pull back to a place called Horpez. Now, let me just get the other map up. See if we can spot that. Horpez, there we go. So Horpez is on the river still, and I believe it must be this place here. So he'll pull back to this position here. Let me remove that map for you. So this is he basically pulls back from Thuin, and he then comes to Horpez here. This is the Prussian Captain Gilhausen. Eventually, the French will capture Gilhausen and Horpez, and he's then forced to continue his retreat in the face of the French. And he'll pull back to a position between Fontaine-l'Evêque, which remember, that's where the Prussians had their warning cannon, and a place called Andalus. So I just turn around here. This is Fontaine-l'Evêque. Here we go. So this is Andalus. So he will pull back then to a position probably here. So let's just run through that again. So the Prussians are defending the river Sombre here at these two villages and key crossing points at Lobs and Thuin. And Captain Gilhausen is using the slopes here and the barricaded bridges to try to slow down the French as much as possible. But the French come around this side here and get onto his flank. This forces him to retreat back onto the heights above. He the French come around on the left-hand side and attack through the place called Horpez, which is over here, down here, this place. And this forces the Prussians to withdraw even further. They come all the way back with the French in front of them to the road that crosses this one here, which goes between Fontaine-l'Evêque and this town village called Andalus. So in this area here. So the Prussians now pull back, and the French have got across the river on their left flank and the Prussians' right flank. All that, though, has probably taken about 3 hours. Now, the Steinmetz wanted Captain Gilhausen to basically wait here for the French and then pull back towards Charleroi using the cover of the woods as he did later on. So all this time, Gilhausen is delaying the French, and his commander, who's named Steinmetz, as I say, he takes the opportunity then to assemble his brigade. And his brigade is to fight a delaying action. Zeiton wants him to delay using a rear guard action and basically fall back towards Charleroi, which is over here, and fall back with the other division of Perches, one in line with him. That was Perch 2s, Perch 1s. The plan was for them to pull back, actually not to Charleroi, but to the north of Charleroi, at a place called Courcelles, which we can see here. So he won't pull back to Charleroi itself. He'll pull back in this direction, probably along this road, aiming towards the town of Courcelles. And from here, he was to move to a place called Gosselies. I do not know where that is. Let's have a look. Yeah, so it's just the next town over. It gets very confusing around here, as you can see, because it's now so built up. But I believe it might be this this town here. Eventually, yeah, it's this town here. This is the town of Gosselies. And the other division would fall back on Gilly, which is it's going to be almost impossible to find because it's so built up now. But it's in this area here somewhere. It's a sort of so Perch 1's division is coming. Will pull back from Charleroi in this direction, probably around here, and Steinheitz's division will pull back via Courcelles to Gonzales here. So you can see this is the sort of the route of retreat of the Prussian army in the face of the French, and they'll be pulling back to Sombref, which is just here on just coming up, and I've got the map up. Yeah, so I'll just repeat that. So Perch 1's division, this is Zeiton's corps. They would pull back through a place called Gilly, which I believe is this area here. It's so built up now it's hard to see, but it's probably this area here. And our friends, the Prussians, who defended the river at the beginning of this story, come back through Courcelles to this place here, which is below us now, which is called Gosselies, and they're heading back to the concentration point of the whole army, which is Sombref, which is over here somewhere. Sombrev. Yeah. So we're talking. We got to around about early morning of the 15th. The French haven't really been held back much, to be honest. The French, once they came out of the woods on the heights above Thuin and Lobs, they then moved to attack along the river Sambre and concentrated towards Charleroi itself. So if we just this is the left flank of Napoleon's army. So let's be the left flank of Napoleon's army. We're rail, and we are pushing across here. We get to the town of Thuin. We have to outflank the Prussians here. We push then up and along and around onto these heights, pushing back the Prussian army onto the back here to this route here, and then we turn and we move along the river valley. We come along towards Charleroi from this direction here. The 3rd Division Cavalry, they were under the control of Domon and Pajal. This is the French, by the way. They advanced along the valley of de Her River, which is a tributary to the Sambre. And they approach from Walcott. Now let's find that. And Walcott is in this sort of area around here, I believe. I'm going to have to get the map out again. Let's I think we're talking here. This looks like it. Yes, this looks like the place I mentioned. This is where the main column would go through. Let's check this map again. Okay, we're a lot let's come back a bit further. There should be a lake here. Oh, there we go. There's a lake there. And we should see Walcott here. So this is where the French cavalry begin, and they will use this valley here. So I'm going to get that map off and show you this. So below us here is the town of Walcott, and This is where the 3rd Cavalry Division of the Domon and Bajul, and they advance along this this valley here. They cross the border at the Le Chateau. They'll follow this tributary, basically. They get to a place called Ham-sur so they come through down this valley, and they'll come out here at Ham-sur, and they catch this is an important place because here the cavalry will capture the Prussian infantry on open ground. The Prussians from this point, they're being attacked from the French cavalry there. They will pull back to Marchand-au-Pont, which we showed you was here. It's this bridge here. So they will fall back that way. And in doing this, they get to this place, Marchand-au-Pont, and they put up a pretty stubborn defense there. The Sombre is quite a wide river, so you can see how at this point here that this is a good place to prevent or slow up the French advance. At this point, you got the advance column basically of the French, and 1 battalion here of Prussians could hold back 2 battalions of French infantry for most of the morning, actually, in this area here. They had barricades here. They had the bridges were barricaded. There was barricades in the streets, all set up to basically slow up the French. And from this point here, the Marchand-au-Pont, they will eventually pull back to Charleroi. But it's not because they are defeated here. It's because their right flank, as we mentioned before, is being threatened from this side here by Rail's corps pushing up from Thuin. There was also a threat that they would be cut off as well because the main column was advancing into Charleroi itself here. So this place became less important once that happened. And so they would pull back then back towards Courcelles and back towards Sombref, so that they don't get surrounded basically on the way back. Domon, we talked about the 3rd Cavalry Division. He pushes straight on to Charleroi. This is a lot heavily urbanized now, but it's hard to tell which bridges were contemporary, but presumably these big roads aren't. But Domon pushes on to here, but the key, you can see this is actually sort of almost like a port. His cavalry gets here quite early. And he has to wait for his infantry to catch up. On his way, he goes to a place called Marcinelle. Goes through a place called Marcinelle. Let's see that. Marcinelle. Yeah, so Marcinelle is this it's just, well, it's almost really just on the other side of the river. Let me get rid of that map. This is Marcinelle here. It's just a little village on the other side of the river. On its way here, he's ahead of his infantry, and they get ambushed at this point by some French skirmishers. Sorry, Prussian skirmishers. And I believe that this village is linked somehow to the quay by some sort of dike. So that provided some sort of defensive wall. We're not going to be able to see that, I don't think, unless it's already been removed. No, it doesn't look right, does it? There's a dike, anyways. It was believed, I think it's believed it's around here somewhere. It's in this area that links between this village here and this quay. And the cavalry found it impossible to cross it without infantry support, so they had to wait. And so he had to wait for his infantry to arrive. We're talking now the central column, and when they do arrive, he can then clear this dike here. He captures the quay, and then he starts capturing the barricades on the bridges. It's interesting that the Prussians don't use Charleroi as a defensive position. It has got a fort, whether we still be able to see it or not. But it was deteriorating at the time, the fort, so it needed a lot of repair. Can't see where that might be. But the Prussians decide that presumably it's too far forward for them to concentrate at that point. The castle or the fortifications here are deteriorated. They're old, expensive to upkeep. So the Prussians don't even try to really defend Charleroi. Even though you can see it's on a hill, you would think maybe this would be a good place for a stand. I'm not sure why, really, but I think the main reason is that it's too far forward in terms of Brussels and linking up the armies. So the French have arrived here, and the time is around about 11 o'clock in the morning. So the columns have set off probably about 3 o'clock in the morning. So we're talking, 8 hours from beginning of the march to Charleroi. The main column has arrived at Charleroi. So in terms, of actual fighting, is not much. They haven't really been delayed much, really, because even though the cavalry have had to wait, the troops were going to take a while to get here anyway. And In that time, though, when Napoleon has got to Charleroi, at the same time, Blucher's concentrating his troops at Sombref. So I'm going to just take a break here, and I'll come back, because what we find at Charleroi is an interesting fork in the road, literally. And there's two roads that lead out to the north. One will leads towards where you see those sort of blue lines are there. They head off on a road to a village called Fleurus, and then to the Sombref region. And then there's this road, which you can see heading to the north, and that one heads up. Basically, is the road to Brussels. So this is where Napoleon will take his lunch, and I'll grab a glass of water. And when we come back, we'll have a look at what happens then from Charleroi onwards, and we'll see what decisions were made at this area here. Hope you've enjoyed that. I hope I didn't and ah. Hope I didn't waffle too much, and hope you found it interesting. If you did, please do all the other things you're supposed to do, like, love, hug, all those sort of things. If you're on Twitch or if you're on YouTube, I do this because I love doing it, but it is nice to see other people loving it too. If you've got any suggestions, please put them in the comments. Ask your questions, and when I get back, I can answer them and all that sort of stuff. And if you want us to see anything else, I'm happy to just take some time off and go off and see different bits, but try to keep it in this sort of Waterloo Napoleonic era. So I will be back in a couple of minutes if you're on Twitch, and if you're on YouTube, you just have to wait, and it'll probably play the next one. See you in a moment.